Good evening and a very warm welcome to you. It is episode 85 of the Football Out West show, and my name is Tonci Prusak. I'm one of the three musketeers, and joining me, as he does always, is Craig Filer. Craig, good evening. How are you tonight?
Good evening. Yes, I'm well, Tonch. Good evening, listeners. Yep, hope everything's well. Yes, good. Thank you. Been a good day tonight. Nice, relaxing day today. Bit of football, bit of watching some of the youngsters play, and now ready for a good show tonight.
That's what it's all about. And introducing our third member, Steve Curtin. Before we get to Steve, thanks, Craig. I've had a lovely, relaxing weekend, just like yourself. But Steve, good evening to you. How are you?
Yeah, a little bit tired. I actually had a little bit of a rest before the show just to get myself recharged. I felt a bit tired after this morning's outing, but a good day here and a good weekend despite the cooler weather. And I actually went to Ballarat yesterday, and I've just thawed out actually since then as well. So,
good stuff, mate. Now, when we talk about this morning, have a look at that. There's a purple ribbon there. Congratulations are in order, mate. First prize in your local cross-country club. Tell us a little bit more about it. That's an achievement.
Nice relaxing day today.
Congratulations are in order, mate. First prize in your local cross-country club. Tell us a little bit. Am I hearing myself twice now? That's
just getting a
nice relaxing day today.
Congratulations are in order, mate. First prize. No, I think Craig's got some sort of. I'm hearing myself twice now. That's
just getting a
nice relaxing day today.
Congratulations are in order, mate. Craig, what's going on?
There's definitely an echo in here.
Yeah, Craig's got some sort of.
Just getting
good to see. I'm not too sure what's going on there, but that's a bit better.
Okay, that sounds better.
You had some echo happening there on your end, but Steve, well done. It was. How are you feeling today?
Good. I thought it was April Fool's Day again, just for a moment there when that sound was bouncing back and forth. But no, thanks, mate. It was a good morning. I think I joined the club, the cross country club, back in 2015, and I have had a couple of third placings. I never thought I'd actually get the sash, so it was the biggest and best surprise in round one this morning of the new season to go home with the sash. So I have to just find a place at home to hang it up and show it off now, I guess.
Yeah, awesome. Craig, we got lots happening on the show tonight. Tell us about what can we expect tonight?
Yeah, look, we're going to, coming up first, we've got, everybody would have seen it and heard about it, Preston Lions opened their new pavilion on Friday night with a game against their Macedonian sisters from Geelong. So we'll get David
CVETKOVSKI. Yep.
From about 7:10. He's going to talk to us not only about the game on Friday night, but about what's happening at Preston Lions.
Yeah.
Then a little bit later on, we'll cross over and we'll continue our run down the leagues, and we're going to speak to State League 3 coach Lino Gretsch. He's going to come on from Sunbury United and talk about their good start to the season and what's going on up there at Langhammer Park. And then
the big one in the press box. What awaits us then, mate? That's going to be. I'm looking forward to that.
I'm looking forward to it, but I just hope we bloody got it right this week, because not only did we have to postpone it last week because the clocks went back in the UK, unknown to me, the clocks went back in here this morning. So, look, I've spoken to him. I'm hoping it's all going to be good. And joining us around 7:50 this evening, just after he comes back from his lads' football, we'll be speaking to the new Saints head coach in Wales, Anthony Limbricck, who's going to come on and tell us about his journey into football management to the mighty TNS in Wales.
Good stuff, and it's a difficult time to be organising international guests, so I'm sure it will all go smoothly tonight. I'm really looking forward to speaking to Anthony, because his achievements have been great, and we haven't heard a lot across Australia about what he's done, so we're here to tell his tale tonight.
Yeah, and he's actually on a couple of coaching websites as well. So if any younger coaches or any coaches that are Googling coach sessions, he's actually produced a few that's online. I'll try and get them up later on for you.
Awesome. It's episode 85, as we mentioned at the top of the show. A big shout out to our main season sponsor for 2022, the George Cross Football Club, Caroline Springs George Cross Football Club, home of Georgie's on Vista. Folks, hang about. Here's a couple of words from our major sponsor.
You find authentic Maltese cuisine? At Georgie's on Vista, in the heart of Fraser Rise, we have a menu to suit everyone, which includes kids and seniors meals, and a cocktail list that will need you to come back several times to get through. Our specialty nights are a big hit. Tuesday is $20 Palmer night with a selection of Palmers to choose from. Kids eat free Wednesday night. With every paid adult meal, you get one free kids meal. Thursday is Maltese night. Check out the Maltese specials on our specials board. And Friday night, we have happy hour between 5:30 to 6:30 p.m. Be sure to book your table to avoid disappointment. Bookings can be made via our website, georgiesonvista.com.au. See you at Georgie's on Vista. You'll find us at Caroline Springs, George Cross.
Welcome back to the Football Out West show. We're hearing those little gremlins happening again, the echoes. Gosh.
What have you got, Tonci?
We've got little gremlins in the background echoing our voices.
Echo?
Anyway, folks, echo. What was that?
Is there a Facebook live stream playing in the background there with the sound working on it?
No.
Probably.
Nothing.
Yeah.
Well, not now at least. So that's hopefully we're all good now.
Well, hopefully good. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for staying with us. It's our absolute pleasure bringing you every week all the latest news, views, results, and issues of the day. And gents, let's turn our attention straight away to NPL3. And the reason because we've got our guest right in the he's about to join us. He's ready to join us. And it's the president of the Preston Lions, David CVETKOVSKI. David, thank you for joining us. We understand you've got a family function on tonight, so we do appreciate you coming on board. How are you?
Thank you, Tonci, Steve, and Craig. Yes, as I think some presidents and all the presidents out there know, we spend so much time with football, but today is my daughter's 12th birthday. So after two women's games this afternoon, one commitment I had to her was to be home for a birthday party until Craig called me, said, Dave, do you want to do this? And I said, Craig, I'll give you the best 10 minutes I've got. So happy birthday to my little Gemma. But great show, gents. And as always, thank you for having us on and for representing football across this beautiful state.
Absolutely, mate. Friday night was a huge night for the club, for Preston. It was, look, apart from obviously round 3 of the NPL3 competition, it was also the official unveiling of the new multi-million-dollar social club facilities. Huge crowd in attendance, and all in all, it was just a fabulous night. Tell us a bit more about what went on.
Yeah, I don't remember too much about it, Tonci. I think I've spent the last 3 to 4 weeks with the committee. And I've got to give a massive shout out to the committee and the volunteers. I think we spent 3 to 4 weeks. I think an hour before the game, and most people don't know out there, I think I had bobcats working around the ground. So it was an amazing spectacle for football. We have aspirations. We don't hide from our aspirations. And I think football in Victoria, football in Australia has so much potential to put together a product. And that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to put together a football product. And showcase the Preston brand.
Look at that crowd there.
Yeah, we were just north of 5,000 people, you build it and they'll come, and that's everything from, we're talking merchandise, we're talking ticket sales, we're talking food, we're talking people having an incredible experience, a footballing experience, and for our club to be able to go on a journey, which we've done. And to deliver this type of product, we're very proud, and we're very proud for Victorian and Australian football, because it takes two teams to tango, and in this case, our very good friends down at Geelong, and then a big call out to Rob and Aussie, the president, for reversing the fixture for us, because we didn't know if we were going to get that beautiful surface up and going for Friday, but thanks to the City of Darebin and the groundsman Nigel, we were able to get it ready and to put on what we call a show, Preston Lions Friday night.
Very good, David. And the surface there looks immaculate. Can only help with the quality of the match. And you can see some of this excellent action out there. Connor Bell scoring a double. He's been fantastic. The club's really brought in some good experienced players. Urson Gullam's come in. He's got the armband. You've got Chris Theodorides in goal, and that man Bell that we just mentioned. The recruitment drive in the recent times for the club has been very strong, and that's obviously played a key role to the success so far this season.
Yeah, I mean, as a club, you're blessed. We're absolutely blessed when you have a good friend that probably one of the best football brains in Australian football, in Mr. Louis Arteschi, together with his team, Chris Capone, and more recently, Sasha Gnonovsky's joined Louis' team. But Louis Arteschi, for those that really know the man, he's a mastermind, football mastermind. He's very passionate about our club, and we're very fortunate because he doesn't belong really at Preston. He belongs in the high echelons, probably of the A-League. However, his passion, part of his, beats strong for this team of ours, and to be able to, I think we're 75% of the boys have been with us from the championship year, and Connor Bell, he was a part of our championship team, so Connor's not new to us. Unfortunately, through COVID, God knows how many nights the phone was ringing with Connor wanting to escape the UK to get here, but unfortunately we couldn't get him here. So we've got a strong squad of about 24. We've got a young Brazilian boy who will make his debut potentially this week. So, you need to fight to earn your position. You need to fight to earn the respect of those people they're called the Preston supporters. And if you manage to do that, you're held in very high regard in front of, the biggest footballing crowd in Victoria. And that's not just NPL. If you're starting to look at, let's start to break down the crowds going to A-League and everywhere else. I think I know we're probably the talk of the town this weekend, but we're putting on a product, and these boys that put on that Guernsey, wear it respectfully, and won't die wondering what football is like. I think North Sunshine, I think Chris Davis smashed one home in the 90th minute. So it's always, it's a pleasure. It's an absolute honour to lead this club. Because we put on some pretty special moments, as you can see here. I think this was coming towards the end of the game. Rob Nolmowski scored the last goal. That was a miss by Noah Sevdovic. But a lot of highlights, a lot of celebration in front of an audience. And what's fascinating me at the moment is we're just shy of, I think we measured it on Friday night, shy of 40% of our attendees are female.
Fantastic.
Great, brilliant.
Mums coming with their children, families coming, and even an older generation of traditional supporters now feeling comfortable to bring their wives to a game. It helps with the corporate facility. We had just under 400 people in the brand new pavilion, which we're very excited to open for dinner and drinks. But it's interesting to see the changing landscape of especially a Friday night, and the demographic of people that are willing to come out as families, 3 generations in some cases, to watch a game of football.
David, 5-0 win on Friday night. A massive crowd, as you said, just over 5,000 people. 400 people in the corporate box facilities, the social rooms facilities. After Friday night, has the buzz around the club now just gone up a notch? And 3 games, 3 wins, sitting pretty on top of the ladder alongside Western United in NPL3. Has the membership sales, the season's ticket sales, have corporate interest, has that now started to increase after Friday night?
Yeah, nothing starts to increase, Tonci. It doesn't stop. We can't bring any merchandise in, and nothing. I think we had a massive shipment of polos. I think they went in an hour and 90 minutes. Beanies, everything, mate. Through your eyes, what does it look like, guys? Give me your perspective. You're astute footballing people. What does it look like from the outside in? I'd love to hear that.
Yeah, look, I'll start because I've been here 10 years now, and I didn't know Preston from a bar of soap before I arrived. Preston was a small town in north of Manchester. So I never knew Preston. So when I see now what clubs in the lower leagues, and I mean taking the lower leagues, not A-League football, providing crowds of over 5,000 for football matches. For me, it and there's a number of clubs we look at. If we not only look at Preston, we look at some of the other teams in NPL that are getting fantastic crowds. We've spoken about the B League, and we've spoken, the likes of Preston, from what we see on the video there and what we saw last season. Those type of teams need to be playing in front of 5,000 people every week, not just every other week. It just looks from the outset, from me looking in, that it's a club that's well run, has got very, very passionate supporters, and obviously you build into for the future. And there's a lot of clubs. Should be taking notice of what you guys are doing and asking more questions. I know we've got Mark Sultana on you, and I know the club are very close to George's, and it does beg a belief that more clubs don't ask questions of how you do it, what do you do, because yes, it takes time, but it can be done, and it proves it can be done. Dave, yeah.
Yeah, we're all representing our communities. How do we, how do we keep, tapping into the communities? And it's, you speak of Mark Sultana. Mark and I will have a conversation weekly, as do a lot of good presidents will actually call, and we're learning from each other. There's no book or there's no course. You can't go do a course in how to become a president or a committee member and run a club. And I guess I was fortunate because, I was vice president to one of the best football brains administratively, Mr. CVETKOVSKI, and I now have him by my side. I think we're down watching the girls together today, having a bit of a chuckle. But how can we learn from each other? How can we help each other? How can we improve? Because this game is on such a high tangent, especially with. I mean, we've been inundated with junior girls just keep coming from 4 to 6 to little girls teams to the interest in women, the women's game. We're probably starting to think that we might have upwards of 700, 800 coming to our first women's games.
Goodness me.
Yeah, and this is logistically, guys. We can't. I'll be honest. Nothing prepares you for Friday night having 24 staff. Let's call them volunteer staff, cooks and runners and people serving kebapi. I think we went through 1,500 kebapi rolls on Friday. Nothing can prepare you for the oil everywhere, guys. I think there was a 6-hour clean-up yesterday after the fun. It's just nothing can prepare you for overflowing toilets. You just can't prepare for anything. There's no book on it. And some,
some of the innovations though that we've seen from the Preston Lions this season, the Get Ducked food ordering program. How is that playing out? That's a really good innovation that I think you guys are basically pioneering.
Get Ducked realised what it was running itself into until Friday night. Good old Rowan. The best thing about Friday night, it's run by a very good young lad called Rowan McNamee, who's the son of former tennis legend Mr. McNamee.
Paul McNamee, famous name there.
Yeah. So it was quite funny Friday night because we invited Mr. McNamee into the Preston corporate lounge. So glad he came on a good night, and we gave him a good traditional Macedonian feed, and we gave him a few drinks, and he quite enjoyed the night down there. But we need to keep spreading our load. 5,000 people. We're not an MCG or a Etihad. We've got no clue what these guys do, and here we are trying to run. Let's not talk about alcohol sales, boys. Friday. I don't know if you know, but Macedonian people have a reputation for they don't mind a drink. But in saying that, once again, Friday night, there's such a multicultural environment out there of people, enjoying themselves, enjoying the old Canadian club or a beer out there, and nothing prepares us. Nothing prepares us for we call it. I think Friday, 3,500 people at half time all wanted to rush out and get a bevy or a drink, and it's just on, and the team, the volunteers, the committee, just somehow we pull it off. And I think the spectators are becoming patient. They're aware we're not MCG or anything like that. They're just patient. Everyone's trying to help, and that's the beauty of it. It's community football. We are community football, and let's stick true to that. Let's try not be something we're not.
Yeah. And having said that, we've talked with Mark Sultana quite a fair bit about this, and we've talked about with a few of the other clubs, national second division. That's on the horizon. All the big clubs in Victoria are having one eye on the current season and one eye on the national second division. Preston Lions are one of those big clubs that we talk about. Is it hard to lose focus on the current season when you're sort of also focused, you've got one eye, and as you said, you guys are volunteers and there's only limited resources. You don't have an entire department that can just focus on the national second division. How's the club coping with all that, being able to sort of almost stretch its resources at the moment?
You might be surprised with my answer, Tonci. I've been a big believer, whether it's in my business life or this footballing life. I always operate to plans, and we're all got a very clear plan. Our plan changed. We first crafted one out in 2015. It took us to 2015. Now our current plan will take us out to 25. This B League, second division, whatever it may be, we are focused on the now. and being the best club we can be for the now. We will be making some major announcements in the next couple of months about Preston Precinct and some multi-million-dollar investment in the future of our juniors. We'll continue to build for the now. Now, in terms of the second division, B League, we've seen what's come out, the documentation. I'm very big for holding both, I guess, the Australian footballing body and the local footballing body accountable. And if we all operate with integrity, the process should give football the results that it needs. And if football is operating with integrity and there's accountability there, if we're seen and perceived as a model club, which I think we are, well, those discussions will be held. I can't chase anything or go chasing people if they don't want us in there. I can push my club, but ultimately, I firmly believe that our club is a model club and that football needs Preston, and so do opposition teams. Because every team, I've spoken to a lot of good people out there, wouldn't mind 3,000 to 5,000 of our supporters venturing out and eating and drinking down there at their clubs and offloading, 25 to 35k for opposition teams. We're going down to Dove for next weekend. And, I was down at Springvale last week. We didn't leave Springvale until about midnight, thanks to our good Serbian friends out there who put on a great function. So it can be win-win. It can be win-win.
Yeah.
So this is to the powers that be to make the right decisions. We'll present ourselves when the opportunity arises to put our hands up. There's no shying away from that. But we've got to make sure that the clubs that do get involved in this and fiscals around it and secure, so that we don't do any damage to football to any clubs. I hate to see any clubs go and get involved in this without us doing our due diligence in terms of understanding what we're signed up for.
Now, I just got one quick one. Usam Gillen got injured last night. What's the process around him now? How is he? What has he done? Do you have any?
Yeah, very, very good question, Craig. Usam has been absolutely amazing. I think a lot of people, thought, he's played A-League, he's played in Turkey, he's played at the highest levels. What's he going to be like? Usam Gullam, he's first at the ground. He's usually there 90 minutes before everyone else, and he's 90 minutes after. His preparation outside of the club is, oh my goodness, gold class. The amount of results and he puts now, it is a very significant injury. If anyone can overcome it, it would be Usam, but it's also Usam's decision. He's got a beautiful family. He's a great family man to make the decision around what he wants to do. So he has an injury to his knee. So let's let the dust settle and see what the people say, but two, more importantly, what Usam's heart tells us. That we've enjoyed and will continue to enjoy Usam's professionalism. The boys just absolutely love having him around, and that's what Louis Arteski brings to the club. People like Usam Gullam, and as I said earlier, so I'm hoping to unveil a nice little Brazilian midweek who's arrived a week and a half ago. So let's see how it all pans out.
Yeah, well, I think all the footballing fraternity will want to wish Usam all the best. He has been a fantastic servant for football, and wish him and his family and obviously the Preston guys all the very best for that one.
Thank you, guys, and all of you, please feel free to come down. I think we play Melbourne Victory in 3 weeks' time.
Oh,
and,
just got it up. It's just put it in my diary as we were thinking. And Steve, we're going to that one, mate.
We can't wait to get along. And your new Brazilian player should be on fire by then too.
Invite, gentlemen. But the hottest ticket in town, mate. I don't know how many new friends we had Friday night lining up. Because it was sponsors and Pavilion Club members only, and everyone would go. But please, guys, feel free. Come down and thank you for everything you do.
It'd be great to catch up with one of our colleagues, Josh Parrish, as well, who's doing a great job there as your media man.
The head of media and communications, as I call him, mate. It was a masterstroke to get him on board, and he's there'll be a great little special coming out this week through the eyes of a little girl who attended the game on Friday. So it's a little documentary Josh has put together. But please come down. But just some advice, a bit of Preston advice: don't drive, boys. Catch an Uber. You won't be in a state go home in a car. So.
Oh, good. Oh,
Steve
good.
and I will have to hitchhike from Geelong, I think, the next time.
If we win, the Preston supporters will carry you home, boys.
Absolutely. Good on you, David. We really
Thanks,
appreciate
Dave.
it. We've got to get moving, but thank you very much, and we wish you all the best for the rest of the year.
Thank you. Have a great night.
Thanks,
luck,
Dave.
Dave.
Thanks,
Thank
mate.
you.
Looking for a space for your next function? At George's on Vista, our function room caters for all types of functions. Milestone birthdays, special religious occasions, work functions, hens or bachelor nights, baby showers, or whatever reason you decide is a good idea to get together with family and friends. Contact our friendly staff who will help you put together a menu that will suit your special occasion. Inquiries can be made via our website, georgesonvista.com.au. George's on Vista, in the heart of Fraser Rise. You'll find us at Caroline Springs, George Cross.
Good evening and welcome back to the Football Out West show. We had David CVETKOVSKI talking. You could just tell the guy is just so excited and euphoric about what is going on at Preston Lions. But gents, let's now turn our attention to what is going on in the rest of the football community in Victoria. Let's start at the top, NPL Victoria action. And first of all, Steve, let's go through some of the results in the NPL.
Yeah, sure. So we'll have to just whip through these pretty quickly. I was at Melbourne Knights on Friday night, and we saw not a classic game, but the Knights had a strong second half with 2 goals from Anthony Frangi to win that one against Hume City, who were languishing at the bottom still, 3-0 there. Oakley Cannons with a strong performance on the road at Dandy City, 4-0 there. Good result for them. Bentley Greens 3-0 over Green Gully in the Big Green. That one down at Kingston Heath. Port Melbourne yesterday got over the line eventually against Altona Magic. South Melbourne, they just can't stop scoring goals at the moment. 5-0 against a 10-man Eastern Lions. And a great result last night down at Dandenong Thunder.
Result.
2-0 over Avondale. So some people didn't see that one coming, but a great result there. And the St Albans Saints, they went to Heidelberg and got a 2-0 win with a goal from Xander Guy and an own goal to complete the round. So, yep, that's the winners are grinners there in NPL Victoria. And you can see South Melbourne there still clear on top with 7 from 7. Hume City at the wrong end of the table. Avondale still in second despite their loss last night. And Port Melbourne Sharks are probably the success story so far that are maybe overperforming what people expected them to do.
Yeah, that letter is taken from the Football Victoria website, and unfortunately not all the results are up. The Melbourne Knights were defeating Hume City 3-0 Friday night. That result hasn't been updated, nor the St Albans defeating Heidelberg United earlier tonight. So Melbourne Knights are in 6th spot.
Yep.
St
Just
Albans
do the maths
are
on
in
those ones. Yeah.
8th spot, correct. Yeah. So let's quickly go to the fixtures for next week. Craig, some of the big ones there.
Yeah, so the first one that stands out there is the very top one there for me, Green Gully against Melbourne Knights, local derby up there at Green Gully Reserve. That should be a cracker. Green Gully need to get back on the winning trail, and Melbourne Knights coming off the back of a win this weekend. Oakley Cannons again. Some big games next week, isn't it? Oakley Cannons
Big
and
games,
Avondale.
huge
That's
games,
another
actually.
big one.
That's a big one.
Yeah, Altona Magic and Dandenong City.
Oh, that's a 6-pointer.
That's
Isn't it?
There's some big games, and you just mentioned South Melbourne there, Stephen. I'm pretty sure, if I'm not mistaken, that they've had 3 5-0 wins so far out of their 7 games. They're absolutely flying, aren't they, at the top there? And they've got a trip away to Dandenong Thunder, who surprised everybody last
night. The Giant Killers, Craig, and we've got some good news about Dandenong Thunder for next week's show.
Yeah, I spoke to David Chick this morning. He's gonna join us next week on next week's show after the game against South Melbourne. So it'll be really good to get Dave's intake on how his season's going and whether they win, lose, or draw next week against South Melbourne. Yeah.
Should we look at NPL 2?
We will, and let's have a quick look through those results in NPL 2. And just, Steve, take us through some of the bigger results through NPL 2 and NPL 3.
Yeah, let's go through the winners. So NPL 2, Moreland Zebras with the win on Friday night. Werribee City, a really good result for them at Brunswick City, 3-0. Moreland City, they're in good form, knocking off Northcote City 2-1. Pascoe Vale getting the job done up at Shepparton there. 2-2 between Langwarrin and North Geelong Warriors, and Kingston City going along pretty well, getting a 2-1 over Manningham United Blues. Moving into the NPL 3 results there, as we said, Preston, a big win for them. And just some of those other results. I'll just get them back up on the screen again. And Ballarat City, they had a good home win at the at Moorshead Park, 4-3, a bit of a thriller against Whittlesea Rangers. Doveton getting the job done, business-like for them, 1-0 over Springvale. Melbourne Victory boys, they got the 2-1 over Box Hill. North Sunshine Eagles 4-0, so a commanding win there against Nunawading. And the game to wrap up the round between the academy sides at City Vista this afternoon. Western United 2, Melbourne City 1. So a good result for United. They are going along pretty well in that division. There's the table for NPL2 there. And Werribee City and Moreland City, they're looking the goods at the moment up the pointy end, as well as Pascoe Vale.
Yeah. And Craig, some of the big games are happening in round 4 next weekend in NPL2. Take us through that.
Yeah, Pascoe Vale at home against Brunswick City. I think that's a Friday night kickoff up at CB Smith Reserve. Moreland City against Moreland Zebras. That'll be a cracker. Werribee can looking to continue their great start, 3 from 3 at home to Manningham Blues. North Geelong at home taking on Golden Valley Suns. That's a hell of a trip down to from Shepparton next Saturday. FC Boleyn Lions against Langwarren, and finishing off with Kingston City against Northcote City next Saturday evening as well.
Yeah, NPLW kicked off this weekend as well, and there's the ladder there after the first round. Alamein took on Football Victoria, emerging early in the day. We haven't got the results of that one, but Heidelberg started off very, very strongly. Unlike their men's team, the women defeated the Bayside United side 5-1. Boleyn Lions defeated South Melbourne 3-0. And Calder United have drawn to, I believe,
Box Hill.
Box Hill,
Drew
correct.
with Box Hill, yeah.
That's it, 0-0 there.
Heidelberg bought us a few of the Melbourne Victory championship winning team through this week. I think they signed for Heidelberg this week as well, so that'll make them very strong at the top there.
Yeah, absolutely.
And just quickly as well, also in the VPLW, I saw Geelong Galaxy 4-3 over Southern United. There was one of the big results this afternoon in the VPLW as well.
Oh, that must have been a really entertaining game to kick off the VPLW. It's all happening, folks. It really, really is. There's a lot happening in the world of football. Let's now turn our attention to the men's state league competition, and more precisely State League 3. Our next guest to join us is the head coach of Sunbury United, and they've had a fantastic start in State League 3. Lino Gresh. Lino, welcome to the Football Out West program, the Extra Time segment. How are you? Maybe you can't hear us.
Oh,
No.
well, I think he can hear us, but
He can hear us, we can't hear him,
We just can't hear him.
which
Yeah,
is not a bad
get-
thing, by the way.
we'll just get him to double check his sound settings, and he'll be with us in any moment because
Yeah.
he's clearly got a lot to say. I can see that by the
He
expression
seems
on
to be
his
having
face.
some sort of internet problems because the network connection there from his end, unfortunately, is not the best. Hopefully, we're going to try and get him back on board very, very shortly. If you can try and get onto us in the meantime. Let's turn our attention very, very quickly to State League. Well, we'll go through some of those results, gents. Craig, do you want to take us through the State 3 results there at the bottom of the screen?
Yeah, Friday night, Sunbury United did at home at Langhammer Park, defeated Diamond Valley United 2-0. And then yesterday, Altona North defeated Faulkner Soccer Club 2-0 by the same scoreline at home. Mooney Ponds were defeated 4-1 by Point Cook, who have had a great start of the season. The Jets from Point Cook. Westville, again, not the cellar dwellers for the last few years, but have turned that around there, and top of the league, 3 from 3, and a 3-1 win against, I suppose, everybody's fancy team, Sebastopol Vikings this year, who are struggling down the foot after 3 games, and Williamstown losing at home to Heidelberg, and Craigieburn City losing at home to Western Eagles. I'm speaking to Steve Lossafidis this afternoon, and he said that Craigieburn were a fantastic football side and certainly didn't deserve to lose the game.
And there's the ladder, as we can see. Westvale at the moment have got a 100% record. Point Cook, Altona North, they remain undefeated, 2 wins and 1 draw. Sunbury United have got 2 wins and 1 loss, as do Heidelberg Eagles. So, look, only 3 points separating the top 5 sides, I guess. it is early days yet, and no doubt there's a lot more to come. Hopefully, we're going to be able to get our guest on tonight, Lino Gresh. I don't know, Lino, can you hear us in the background? It doesn't seem to. We've got video. We just don't have audio, unfortunately, for whatever reason. So if we can get maybe Lino to log off and then log on back again, see if that helps. But look, there's the match details from Friday night's game, Steve. A pretty easy kind of a win, or so it looks like on paper for Sunbury United. 2 goals. There's 2 yellow cards each, and then 1 red card for Diamond Valley. But Fleefel in the 55th minute and Rastocic in the 51st minute were the 2 goal scorers. Seems to be Sunbury United doing quite well in the early part of the season.
Yeah, they jumped on the chance there to bang in 2 goals in less than 5 minutes and really set themselves up there. And I guess once their rivals went down to 10 men, that was probably game over. So difficult place to go and play Sunbury United away, and getting the job done at the moment. There's the table there: two wins and 1 loss from their 3 games, and the goal difference is pretty healthy too, with +6, having scored 8 goals already this season, so and conceded only 2 against.
No doubt it's the attack that's doing well. Let's quickly have a look at the fixtures for next week's round 4 matches. Craig, take us through some of those fixtures.
Yeah, they're. Which one should we have a look at? Sebastopol need to get on the winning circle. They got Williamstown up there in Ballarat. Western Eagles taking on bottom club Western Eagles. Faulkner, Sunbury travel to Faulkner. I think that's a Monday night kickoff. Normally is for Faulkner up at CB Smith Reserve, and
I think it's where we.
Oh, we might have Lino in the background.
I can hear Lino.
Where do you live, Mars?
Hello, Lino. You there?
Are you there?
Welcome
Yes,
to the
mate,
Football
I'm
Out West show.
Yes. I hope he doesn't swear.
Can he-
very surprised. Lino, good to have you on the show.
Likewise, mate. Thank you.
Tell us about your game on Friday night.
Thank you, Steve. It's read my mind.
Or maybe not.
Maybe not. We had him there for a second.
Lino, are you still with us? Sometimes things just don't quite go to plan.
Not quite, yeah. And when we're in control and things are going well for us, it's something. Sometimes things don't go well for the others. We're going through some of these
let's
fixtures.
go up to State League 1, is it, and go through those?
Yeah, let's go through that.
Yeah.
Oh, have we gone through all of those fixtures yet?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Let's go through the some of the results. Craig, take us through State League 1, and you were there at George Cross, so tell us a little bit more about that game as well.
Yeah, it was a very, very entertaining game, shall we say? Strathmore came out from the at the blocks very, very early, scored a good goal, well taken goal after probably about 10 minutes, I think, and then really camped in outside their box and try to force Georges to try and break them down, which they found it difficult. And it was, I think, the 88th minute of the game when a corner came in and spilled by the goalkeeper of Strathmore and headed home by their new signing to 1-1. And then in 6 minutes of additional time, they scored their second with a bit of a mix up in the middle of the 18-yard barrier, and the same player. Levi Tribune, who's just come over from the UK, scored his second goal on debut to get a 2-1 win against Strathmore. Yeah, it was a difficult evening for them.
Exciting player, is he? This chap that's just come over from England.
Yeah, look, first time I've seen him. Had a look at him in training on Thursday. First time I saw him in a game last night. Looked very comfortable at the back. England schoolboy international, played in the lower leagues in the UK, and has joined Georges. And looked very comfortable. Looks as if he can play a bit and a little bit of speed at the back as well, which also helps. So we'll look forward to watching him over the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, awesome.
Very good. All right, some of those other scores. Will we go through?
Those other ones?
Yeah, okay. Good win for Banyule City, 3-2 over Sydenham Park. Brimbank Stallions 2-1 at home against Keilor Park. Cryo, their first home game of the season, didn't go the way that our good man Santino Mamone hoped. They lost 2-0 to Clifton Hill. And I did see the King of Paco wandering up and down Geelong West this afternoon. So big hello to you, Santino. Other results we haven't mentioned yet. Altona City 1-0 over Whittlesea United, and Essendon Royals getting the win as well. And there's the table there, as you can see. Georgie's going great guns, 3 from 3. The Stallions on 7 points, and the Royals and Banyule City also on 6 points.
Craig, as expected, it's the big 4 clubs that are battling it out for those promotion spots to the next year's NPL competition. I know it's early stages yet, but are those 4 clubs just so far ahead of the rest of the pack? Is it really going to be a case of Caroline Springs, Brimbank, Essendon and Banyule City come season's end fighting for it? Or are there some of those other teams that are just a little bit slow out of the blocks at the moment in State 1?
Yeah, look, it's a very tight league, Tonci. There's a lot of good clubs and a lot of good players in this league. You look at Sydenham Park, who are probably some people's favourites to be up there. Have had a poor start under their tenure in the league, in the campaign. But I'm sure that'll turn around. George Cross travel to Sydenham on Saturday in what is a local derby, so that's not going to be one for the faint-hearted for sure. But yeah, look, Brimbank, Essendon and Banyule, Altona City there as well had a good result last night. They're going to be at this. It's a very tight league, and you've got to win your home matches for sure, and then try and get something in your away games. But everybody's fighting for those top 2 positions.
There we go. The fixtures for next week's round of matches, and already there's going to be a few big ones, as you mentioned. Craig, Sydenham Park hosting Caroline Springs, George Cross, a big game there. But Altona City, they're going to host Banyule City, a big game there at Kim Reserve. And if they can keep their early season good form and knock over one of those top 4 in Banyule City, Whittlesea United doing also not too bad. And they've got a big game against Brimbank Stallions. But some big games coming up there in State League 1. Steve, let's quickly move on to State League 2 and State League 3 Northwest and just look at the pick of the results there.
Yeah, so State League...
We've already looked at State 3, I suppose, yeah.
Yeah, State League 2, we'll have a look at that. Albion Rovers getting a win, also wins for Upfield and Mill Park, both on the road. Hoppers Crossing playing the evening kickoff last night. That was covered by Brenton Ray, sensationally as well. Great coverage there at the Grange Reserve. 1-0 winners over Laylaw. And a high-scoring draw, 3-3, Hume United and Westgate. So an exciting one there. And we spoke to Goran from Westgate last week. And, exciting game, that one, 3-3.
Yeah, the third goal for Westgate scored in the 94th minute by one of my old players, actually. Ellis Davis scored the equaliser in 94 minutes up at Hume United there. So a good end of the game for Westgate. Well, obviously, Goran wasn't in the dugout, so obviously that president's obviously done another great job. So he might be on the bench for another 2 weeks.
He might be.
There you go. Who knows there? And we already went through State 3, but our featured club tonight was meant to be Sunbury United. Lino Gresh, we're having audio issues with Lino, and he's just given up the ghost. He's just left. He just said, "Nah, I can't do it. No chance of me." But Sunbury United, they're up against Fawkner United Monday week. In fact, the Monday night game. So that's going to be next Monday night down at Fawkner at the CB Smith Reserve. So something certainly to look forward to. Gents, we're almost out of time. We're very, very, very quickly almost out of time. But I guess now's a quick opportunity just to have a look at the World Cup draws. A bit unusual having the World Cup draw without all of the teams having qualified, Craig. But look, there's some interesting groups there, and I think Australia, should they get through against the United Arab Emirates and then Peru, I think the playoff, they will be in Group D with France, Denmark, and Tunisia. A tough group if they get through. Do you
sense any deja vu from 2018 there at all? With Australia, France, and Denmark potentially in the same group again. What are the chances of that happening twice in a row?
Very good, apparently.
It seems a bit. It seems
if they could
odd.
if they can get past UAE first of all. But
Yeah.
Group of death. Which one do you think is a group of death, Craig?
Look, I don't think there really is a
Yeah, I don't
group
think
of
there is
death
one
this
either.
year. No, I think it's very, very equal across probably
Yep.
probably Group E, if I'm honest, out of all of them. Spain, Germany, Japan. That could
And the
possibly
second
be
playoff interconnect.
one for me. But
And that could be New Zealand, the other team in that group, though.
Could be New Zealand and
Or
Costa Rica. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yep. One of the two.
And obviously Group B could be Wales, Scotland, or Wales, Scotland, or Ukraine, of course, in going into Group B. So looking forward to Qatar when I go and England take on Wales. That should be some game, shouldn't it?
Huge.
Yeah,
absolutely huge. Good on Canada getting through for the first time since the early 1980s. Good result for them. A country a little bit similar to us, coming off a long drought like we did in 2006, and they dominated that North American section there, and they did very well. So looking forward to seeing how they go.
Just one for Santino. I can't see Italy in there anywhere.
No.
Oh, he's boycotting it. He's boycotting the World Cup.
He's decided he's boycotting.
He's had enough. He's spat it before it's even happened. Not to worry. Gents, thank you very much for being part of the Extra Time segment. Fans, something between that. There's a correlation between those two. Thank you for being with us over the first 45 minutes. Don't go away. It's time for the press box immediately after this break. And when we return, it is going to be, it's going to be a good one. It's been 2 weeks in the waiting for this one, but we'll have Anthony Limbricck, the only Australian to take to win a league title. Could be one of two. Ange Postecoglou might be following in his footsteps, but in the meantime, he will be joining us very, very shortly after the break. Can't wait for that. That's coming up in the press box. So, folks, don't go away. We'll be right back. Grab yourself a quick drink or go to the toilet if you have to, and we'll be back for the second half in about a minute's time. Don't go away. Welcome back to the Football Out West show. You're now tuning into the press box, which is the second half of tonight's show. And joining me, as they do each week, Steve Curtin and Craig Filer. Gentlemen, a lot to get through in the extra time segment. We didn't even get through everything we wanted to get through. There was news about the Australia Cup as well. We had the NPLW as well, which we only just touched on. So a lot happening in the world of football, but mate, it's our press box is Craig. We've thought of it as a concept of really getting down to the bones of the issues, being able to talk to one person, a special guest each week, and tell us what the concept of the press box is that our viewers can really enjoy.
Yeah, as you said, Tonci, it's having somebody each week that comes on and talks about their journeys in football, things that have happened to them through their time. It might be, issues with football that we have here in Australia, it might be issues that we have abroad. But it's getting somebody on that we can have a good chat and find out more about them, more about their footballing journey.
Steve, the press box this week, we're talking about a man who's, really, really well known in Wales, Craig's home country. And who's our guest going to be tonight?
So as we mentioned earlier, we are talking about Anthony Limbricck, who is a Tasmanian guy. He's only got him at 38 years of age. So he's still a spring chicken by managerial age, I suppose. And he's been trailblazing a path through the footballing program in England and then into Wales now, where he's managed to claim that title with the team called the New Saints, which is a good name, of course. And that actually qualifies his club to be in the preliminary stages of the European Champions League qualifying, which is an incredible story as well. And we've heard his story recently about winning the league and became aware of him, but we haven't heard too many interviews with him in Australia to find out his story. And that's why we're excited to speak to him tonight, because he's going to have some insights and some revelations, I think, and I can't wait to hear a bit more about that, I think. So, tremendous show so far tonight. And, of course, speaking to David CVETKOVSKI earlier, all about what's been going on at Preston Lions. It's just absolutely fantastic. The culture around that club at the moment is something that other clubs are looking to replicate this season. And, you just think any club who's, ambitious is going to be looking at what's been happening at BT Connor Reserve and trying to replicate things that David and his committee are doing, because weren't those pictures sensational? Basically, for me, it's like a picture-perfect postcard of what we want to see, a boutique football stadium packed to the rafters, a perfect pitch for playing high-quality football, colourful characters, banging in goals. Just excellent to see. A very high percentage of female to male ratio in the crowd, and a really good female football program as well. They're ticking all the boxes there. Just I'm going on about it, but it was a really good chat, and looking forward to seeing what Preston can do over the course of the year and what other clubs can do to replicate the heroics of Preston, because as a code, that sort of thing inspires the rest of us as, fans of the code and participants to aspire to greater things.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's one of those things we talk about.
I was going to ask David while he was on there. Sorry, Tonci. Is there, obviously with them having 5,000, you could see all the crowd behind the goals, and I'm sure there was crowd that we couldn't see on the camera side. Would there be any chance of an extension to their stadium? Is there a new stand going to be erected? Because I don't think there's anything behind. I think there's a field on the far side, isn't there?
Yeah.
It'd be interesting to see if there is any plans to get a stadium built there.
That's a good point. I think they've actually erected almost like a permanent media box structure, which is good for us commentators, and that's what I've heard. But and it might even be a good scoreboard. I'm not sure if it's an electronic scoreboard I'm hearing, but we don't really see that. But look, some great things happening there. Our major sponsor, big shout out to our major sponsor for 2022, Caroline Springs George Cross Football Club, home of Georgie's on Vista, another club that is really, going great guns. They're doing very well in State League One, and they are pushing for a place in NPL3 next year. But in the meantime, it is a fantastic community facility they have out there. So we're going to have a couple of words from our major sponsors, and when we return, Anthony Limbrick is ready to join us all the way from the other side of the world. He's in the green room itching to tell us about the secret of his success. Folks, don't go away. You're tuning into the Football Out West show, brought to you by the Caroline Springs George Cross Football Club.
You find authentic Maltese cuisine? At Georgie's on Vista, in the heart of Fraser Rise. We have a menu to suit everyone, which includes kids and seniors meals, and a cocktail list that will need you to come back several times to get through. Our specialty nights are a big hit. Tuesday is $20 Palmer night with a selection of Palmers to choose from. Kids eat free Wednesday night. With every paid adult meal, you get one free kids meal. Thursday is Maltese night. Check out the Maltese specials on our specials board. And Friday night, we have happy hour between 5:30 to 6:30 p.m. Be sure to book your table to avoid disappointment. Bookings can be made via our website, georgesonvista.com.au. See you at George's on Vista. You'll find us at Caroline Springs, George Cross.
George's on Vista is a fantastic place and a great neck of the woods to get a good feed, top quality feed, and lots of entertainment and some absolutely fantastic and thrilling football. Speaking of thrilling football, our next guest on tonight's show, he's responsible for some very thrilling football that has taken his side all the way to the top of the Welsh Premier League. It's an absolute pleasure to have the coach of the New Saints, or as they say over in the UK, the manager, Anthony Limbrick. Anthony, welcome to the Football Out West show. Great to have you on board.
Yeah, thank you for having me. Thanks a lot, guys. Appreciate it.
Now, first and foremost, how did your son get on this morning?
Yeah, he did okay. Yeah, we take him to football on a Sunday. He's only 2 years old, but it's probably more multi-sports and that sort of thing. But we might be pushing him into all different sports. So yeah, as long as he's enjoying it, that's the main thing. So for myself, I get enough football as it is. So let's see how he develops and see how he goes. Yeah.
Fantastic.
Now, Anthony, tell us a bit about your recent season with the New Saints. I see that you've got a system where the league has a Group A and a Group B, and you absolutely streeted it in Group A, 67 points, second place team with 46 points. So miles ahead of the competition. Tell us a bit about how that competition is structured, how it works, and how it went for your team.
Sure, yeah. Well, you have a normal season of, I think it's 32 games, but with the last 10 games to go, you end up splitting into the top half and the bottom half. So you end up playing the best teams, which is the best teams home and away. You play them twice. So we're in that group. It's very similar to Scotland, how Scotland do it there. So yeah, it's whoever gets the most points come the end of the season, but the split happens with 10 games to go. So when I joined the club last season, I came with the last 10 games to go, and we just narrowly missed out on winning the league, and the club hadn't won the league for the last 2 seasons. And then this season we knew that we had to be on the front foot. We had to be aggressive with our recruitment, the way we trained, the way we worked, and we managed to win the league with 7 games to go. And I think we're 21 points clear at the moment. So that was a good achievement from all players, everybody involved, and we really pushed on to the next level and got back to winning ways for the club. Really, that was their 14th championship win. So yeah, we were pleased with that, really pleased with that, and in the Welsh Cup final come the end of the season. So hopefully we can get some more silverware there.
Now, Anthony, for those Australians, and obviously you being one, but there'll be the vast majority of people listening won't have any idea about TNS. They won't, or the New Saints, or TNS, or Llansantffraid, or Oswestry, or even Wales. Can you give us a quick overview of yourself, your journey, and again a little bit about the New Saints and who they are?
Yeah, well, my journey's probably been a bit different, I think, than most probably Australian coaches that you see at the top level. I started in Tasmania playing football with the dream of becoming a professional footballer, like many young Australians do. And I moved from Tasmania to Queensland and played in what was then the 4X League, the NPL1, you could say now, for a couple of teams there, and then moved over to the UK when I was about 19. And trialled it, I reckon, every lower league club up and down the country, Scotland, Wales, England, everywhere, and realised from those trials that I wasn't that good a player. The standard was a lot higher than what I was, and I was playing semi-professional football in London at a club called Wingate and Finchley, and had a really bad leg break, but could come back from that leg break. But I just knew at that time, literally on the day that I broke my leg, that I'd never played professional football. I think it was probably just a realization thing, and I knew the level and the jump was too big for me. And that was probably the hardest thing I'd ever been through. But I think I'd realized then that I'd been doing all the things necessary to become a coach. So I'd studied the game, I'd studied diet, nutrition, psychology, learning styles, all those different things that you'd become a coach. I had a lot of experience because I probably got cut or told no that many times by that many different coaches. That put me in a good stead now to understand the psychology of players and those things. So I started coaching from then on, really. And a lot of people said, come back to Australia, have a nice, easy life. Probably could have gone back into education or something like that. But
that sounds like most footballers who go to Europe and don't make it, they come back for an easy life and a big pay packet here in Australia.
Yeah. Well, I certainly didn't have a big pay packet when I started out, that's for sure. And then sort of literally worked my way up and probably got my big break at Southampton Football Club. Was there for 5 seasons working in the academy. I worked at West Ham in the academy for 2 years as well, and then jumped into first team football with Woking in the National League. Was there for a season and then went to Grimsby as an assistant manager in League 2. That was a really good experience. And then after that, I was sort of at a bit of a crossroads, really not sure where to go next, whether it'd be back into academy football. I wanted to stay in first team football, and then I applied for the job at the New Saints. It's a team in Wales. I didn't know that much about the Welsh League, I must say, before I joined, but I did a lot of research and watched every single game before I went for the job, so I knew the level, the standard. And the big pull from this league is, although the league is probably varied in terms of quality teams and teams down the bottom that aren't really as good as the other ones, with no disrespect to them, but if you win the league, you go into the Champions League and you qualify for the Champions League. Then if you get knocked out of that, you get into the Europa League, which is the qualification. And then hopefully we're hoping this season that there could be an outside chance that we might qualify for the Europa Conference League group stages. That's the goal of the chairman, to make a major European group stage, which is a big ask for the budget we've got, for the players we've got, for the level we're at. But it's really great for me personally to have that ambition from the club and really try to push things on. So, yeah, it's been a good move so far. We've had a busy season, but we start in that Champions League next season, and that's super exciting as a coach. So, looking forward to that one.
Tonci.
And Anthony,
Steve, you go.
Very successful season, obviously. We won't tell anyone if this is the case, but if you had any interest from any other bigger clubs getting on the phone?
Yeah, no, look, I mean, listen, we've got people who work for us outside as well. So, like, for example, I've got an agent who helps me out with that sort of thing. They do a lot of work behind the scenes, which is good because that means I can just concentrate on what I'm doing. So there's been discussions with some other clubs, but I'm really focused on what I'm doing at the moment. I really want to have another go at the Champions League or the Europe for next season after the Europe this season, and then see where that puts me. But I've got really no plan to move on if the club keep progressing and moving forward like they have done, and they have done this year. So I'm really happy where I am and looking forward to moving forward with this club. Put me on the spot there, Steve.
Yeah. You could choose not to answer that one if you wanted to.
Love
You went there, so
early.
good.
Love it, mate.
Yeah. Now, Anthony, born in Hobart, in Tasmania, you know, by any stretch of the imagination, whether it's football, whether it's any sport, really, the Tasmanians, unfortunately, are sometimes forgotten about. And you know, we keep saying in football terms, we need to have a national presence down there, not just Western United having a game down there, but you know, why not an actual team down there and doing something different that the other sports don't seem to have. Tell us about the football growing up in Hobart. Tell us about the football community, and at what stage you decide, one, to leave Tasmania and go to the mainland, and then two, to leave Australia and go to the old Dart. Take us through the thought process back then.
Yeah, well, I think probably from I mean, you know, as it is in Australia, and Tasmania is no different. You play every sport. It was cricket in the summer. It was AFL in the winter, but I always enjoyed playing football. I'm not sure why, but more so than any other sport. Maybe the influence. My mother's her side is Scottish, my dad's side's English, so we had a bit of an interest in, or they had an interest in, English football. And staying up late watching the FA Cup final was always a thing in our house. So that probably, I think, it ingrained in me. I have a real passion and love of the FA Cup in particular, and I think that probably grew those memories from the start. And started playing at different levels there, really, in Tasmania, and just really enjoyed the game. Went with some of the like the representative teams. We moved actually from Hobart to Launceston when I was maybe going into high school, maybe year 7. So that was a different experience of football and played at a really good club called Riverside Olympic, who I still speak to a lot of people now, and would love to go back and take a team there one day. And that was just a really good environment of just top quality people, which was more important than the actual football. And I still remember my time there very well. And sort of, I was always an okay player, but I'd never say I was an outstanding player, but I always worked hard and had the determination to really push on and try and achieve as best I could. I never thought about anything else, really. And my parents are very, very, very accepting of that, really, and helped me a lot. I always did okay at school, but I decided, I think after year 11, that I got an option to go to a club called Bundaberg Waves. I don't know if you remember that club or ever heard of it. It was in Queensland, up in Bundaberg.
Queensland, yep.
And at the time, there was a good coach there called Tony Walmsley, who was from England, I think, originally. And he, I think, ended up coaching the Central Coast Mariners for a little bit as well. So he said, look, there's an option if you want to come up there. And I came up there, and that was really where it all started, where I virtually trained full-time and just sort of worked part-time there, doing a couple of small jobs, and really fell in love with it there and knew that was what I wanted to do. And I knew after a couple of seasons there, I went back down to Brisbane to a club called Rochdale Rovers. And I didn't really see a pathway through in the Australian game, if I'm honest, because I think I was below the top level of young Australian talent there, but I think there's a bit of a niche market, in my opinion, underneath the top ones.
Yeah.
And I thought that for me personally, that was the best thing to do. I always had the dream of going to England, and I was very headstrong with it, and then got there and realised, oh wow, geez, this is slightly difficult here. It's a bit of a business, and there's so many players, and it's very competitive. And unfortunately, I think physically and technically I was okay, but just physically couldn't handle the tempo and the intensity of the game there. So, yeah, I think all my different experiences of moving around. I mean, I moved away from Tasmania when I was 17. I think that was the best thing for me, because you're out there by yourself. I think probably my parents as friends were like, where's he going? What's he doing? I think I stopped school a year early as well, but obviously kept studying and kept updating myself on that. So it was quite a big risk, I think, at the time, but I didn't really think anything different. But I really think that I've learned a lot, not just through the actual football, but through the competitiveness of Australia, the hard work, the underdog. I do use that mentality now and take that into my coaching with all the experiences I've had.
Yeah, now you talk about your coaching experiences that you've had there. Obviously, you touched on it earlier on with Southampton. Obviously working under Pochettino and Ronald Koeman, I believe it was at the time. Obviously, two masters in different ways. We all remember Koeman as a Dutch centre half, a class centre half. Coached at some of the biggest clubs in the world. What was your take from those two coaches? What was if there was one thing from each of them that you took, what would it be, Anthony? And
I mean, it was just such a good apprenticeship at Southampton. I had 5 long years there, and when I first started, I got the job as under 14s coach, which was full time. So, and the 14s were training every night, so they're coaching like four nights a week and a game on the weekend. So during the day, I was able to go in and assist the 18s coach and the 23s coach. So that was brilliant, because that got you in and around the first team, and you could watch them train, you could see them work. And the first manager that was there that had a big influence on me was Nigel Adkins. He got double promotions from League One into the Championship into the Premier League. So that did he learn a lot.
Sorry, did Nigel Adkins also coach TNS?
No, but he coached in the Welsh League.
He coached in the Welsh League, didn't he?
That's right. Yeah, you guys do your research. I like it. Yeah.
Oh,
he
we have to. We have
sometimes we do.
Yeah, no, I like it. You've done it. He won it twice with Bangor, in the Welsh League, and I still speak to him now. I picked his brains a lot on this job before I took it. So he was a big influence on me, watching him work and man manage. And then it was interesting with Pochettino when he came in, because I'd never seen a tempo and intensity like it in training in all my life. It was unbelievable. I thought, how are you going to get players like Ricky Lambert and Jack Cork and Lallana? No disrespect to them, fantastic footballers, but how are you going to get them to run around and press and counter press and things? So he come in and just totally changed the philosophy and the dynamics of that, and the intensity was just out of this world. I couldn't believe it, and tried to sort of pick his brains as much as I could. His son was actually joined the under 13s at the time. And that time I was the 16s coach, but I was in charge of the 13s to 16s. So it just so happened that year I took the 13s a lot and tried to get involved as much as I could to try and get closer to him. So whenever I'd see him, I'd try and get in there as much as I could. So, yeah, he was very good, but a big influence for me. We didn't have that much contact with him, but the training ground was at the same place, so it was great. We try and pick his brains a lot. And then when I was the 18s coach was at Southampton, Ronald Koeman came in, and you're very close there with the 18s and 23s. They take a lot of your players sometimes. You might be halfway through the session. They bring players over, which is great. So to really see what they would work and do, it was interesting, because Pochettino and Koeman probably had the same outcome of like playing young players, press them from the front, play out from the back, a high tempo game, but they went about it totally different ways. Koeman was he had a presence. He wouldn't say a lot. A lot of his staff would do a lot of the work, but when he spoke, everyone would listen. Do you know what I mean? Whereas Pochettino was like in everyone's face, very good relationships, would go and say hello to everyone, talk to everyone. And it was really fascinating to see two different styles, equally as effective, and two great managers work. And I think not just football-wise what I learned, but like people skills. And yeah, they were very respectful people, good values, good standards, and I took a lot from that.
Awesome. We're speaking with Anthony Limbricck. He is the coach of the New Saints, the reigning Welsh Premier League champions. Anthony, we're going to take a little bit of a sponsors break, and when we return, we'll continue with this riveting conversation, and we'll talk about some of the influences on your coaching career. Folks, don't go away. You're tuning in to the Football Out West show.
George's on Vista is in the heart of Fraser Rise. You'll find us at Caroline Springs George Cross. Looking for a bit of fun with your meals? Tuesday night is bingo night. Bingo books are $2, eyes down at $7. And we have a special bingo menu for you to choose from, so be sure to get in early and grab a bite to eat beforehand. Friday night is poker night. Registration is from 6:30pm, with poker starting at 7:30pm. Why not join us beforehand for happy hour? Kicks off at 5:30. We're also on Uber Eats, so you can enjoy your favourite Georgie's meals in the comfort of your own home. Find us on the app. Dining in? Be sure to book your table to avoid disappointment. Bookings can be made via our website, georgiesonvista.com.au. Looking for a space for your next function? At George's on Vista, our function room caters for all types of functions. Milestone birthdays, special religious occasions, work functions, hens or bachelor nights, baby showers, or whatever reason you decide is a good idea to get together with family and friends. Contact our friendly staff who will help you put together a menu that will suit your special occasion. Inquiries can be made via our website, georgiesonvista.com.au. George's on Vista, in the heart of Fraser Rise. You'll find us at Caroline Springs George Cross.
Welcome back to the Football Out West show. This is the Press Box. Our guest tonight, all the way from Wales, the coach of the New Saints, or TNS, is Anthony Limbrick. We're going to continue with some hard questions now, hard-hitting questions for you, Anthony. Thanks again for coming on. Now, we've been talking a lot about coaching from local grassroots level up to the national teams in Australia at the moment. Do you keep in touch with a lot of coaches back in Australia to bounce ideas off them and talk about the education process? And what do you think about our current state of play with our national teams and playing in a style that represents our country?
Yeah, I think it's a good question. It was actually, I expected to get asked something along these lines coming on. So, I mean, for me personally, I don't have any experience of the current coaching or coach education system in Australia because I've done all my badges and all my coaching started over here in the UK. So I don't really have too much to add to that, really. I think that obviously it is so different over here compared to in Australia with the young players and the development coming through. There's a lot more contact time, a lot more academies. I think looking at it the other day, the contact time of games programs between like a 16 or 17-year-old in Australia to 23 compared to over here, what that games program could look like and the variation of that games program is very, very different. I think that can get lost sometimes in the system in Australia. I think it's been quite interesting how Australia at times have gone down different routes and gone down obviously like the Dutch route and had a little bit of a look into that sort of thing. And obviously we had the Dutch route at Southampton as well, but more so probably the Barcelona style was there when Ronald Koeman was there. So I think it's quite interesting. I think it's probably at a really interesting point, Australia at the moment. I don't watch too much of the national team, if I'm honest, just from time, but I keep in touch with the A-League a bit. Do you know what I mean? With the coaches, with some of the players that I know there, and keep in touch on that. Spoke to a few clubs there a couple of times, but nothing's really happened so far. But I'm probably a bit of an unknown, I think, in Australia coming through the system in here, and not many people want to talk to me, Steve. To be fair, that often it's great to.
After tonight, it's all going to change, mate. After tonight,
I know. Yeah, they will do now, hopefully. But so it's I think it's probably hopefully in the next few years I'll get a little bit more exposure and trying to get a few things in Australia, like on the Optus Sports interview that Jake did for me was fantastic, and just raising my profile in Australia because I think I go quite unnoticed there. So I'd be lying if I said I was really in depth with the Australian national team and knowing what they're doing and the structure and that sort of thing. I keep an eye on it from afar and probably keep an eye on more of the players that are over here and that sort of thing. But watch a lot of the A-League and see that and see the development coming through in that league. So yeah, probably not as much to add on that if I can, Steve, but I think that it probably needs to have a good look from right at the bottom all the way up. So how does grassroots filter into the clubs? When do the players get more access time and contact time at the clubs? What's the recruitment process as well for these clubs? I just see like a lack of scouts, a lack of. I think recruiting's so important.
You'll need to stop there because you can open a right can of worms now.
Yeah, I do. Of course,
keep going, please.
You're going to get me going now as well.
It's easy for me on the other side of the world to say that because I can't lie, Craig, that I know in and out of it. I can't, but I think here, when you look at like all the areas are covered and the scouts are there, and I think the recruitment is a massive part. Whether you're a first team manager, an under 14s academy coach, an academy trying to develop players, you need to recruit the right players first. So I'll probably open up a can of worms there, Steve, but it's just my thoughts and the ideas that I have. But I know obviously a lot about the systems over here, like in and out, but can't say I know as much as probably I should, to be fair, being from Australia.
And it is very different. The UK is very different too. You said it in your playing and your coaching. Just the whole setup of how the UK is, with the number of clubs that are professional. How many? Every one of them's got an academy from 8 through to 18, and it's very, very, very different to what it is here. But just going back to your coaching side again, 2019, I think it was. You were with. Everybody knows Ian Holloway. And you were to be with him. Ian Holloway is one of the, how should we say, he's one of the most eccentric
managers.
Absolutely, yeah.
He is really about man management, his philosophy, his way of managing. How was he to work with? Because he is like he's like one of those Duracell bunnies, isn't he? He just doesn't stop.
Yeah, he is, yeah.
What was it like?
Yeah. He was, yeah. I mean, I was the assistant at Grimsby, and unfortunately the manager there lost his job, Michael Jolly, who was fantastic for the club. And then I ended up putting into a caretaker position where sort of, I think I had 8 or 9 games and drew 4 games and won 1. So I was thinking, do you know what, I could be in a chance with getting the job here if it went well, and just probably didn't get enough wins over the line. I think when you're a caretaker manager, you need to get a few more wins in there. So we found out on I think it was New Year's Eve that Ollie, we call him, was coming in, and he gave me a call. We had a quick call, and then he said, "You take the game today, and we'll catch up afterwards." And then from then I had probably 3 or 4 months with him until COVID, and then obviously during the COVID period I left after that. But yeah, character is just the minimum word you would describe.
Yeah, understatement, right?
It was an absolute laugh every day. The team spirit that he built, and the camaraderie, and every player wanted to play for him. His best thing, I think, was his storytelling. And whether he's in the change room, whether he's with the staff, whether he's with the fans, it was just unbelievable. Some of the stories and the way he linked it back to his life. And he had twins and 2 deaf twins. So it was really fascinating telling the stories about that, how he was playing at the time, and trying to manage that and get through that period in his life. And he's got a couple more kids as well, and the troubles that they've had with that. His wife's had cancer as well. So although it was fun and that, he always replied back to those stories with how he got through those periods and that sort of thing. But yeah, some of his team talks were very interesting. Yeah. I wouldn't. You probably wouldn't. You wouldn't need to repeat some of them on this show, but they were very interesting, to say the least. But he was a larger than life character, and yeah, I still speak to him now and keep in touch with him. And one of the things he did for me personally which I thought was fantastic, was that obviously we know in football it's very busy, and we had a game, I think Saturday, Tuesday, and my son was being born, and we had to. My wife had to get rushed into hospital on the Monday, and he said to me, "It'll be the greatest time of your life, having your child." And he said, "Make sure you're there until birth, and I don't want to see you since." Now, in football, it's not always easy to miss games and miss training for that. And I was quite integral to the team there, because I did a lot of the tactics. I took all the sessions. I did a lot on match day. And he let me miss really about 5 or 6 days and said, "Don't come back." And I was just very lucky that COVID hit for us. And the game actually got cancelled on the Friday when I was ready to go back up. So I had about 11 months at home with my newborn son. So it was amazing, yeah. But for him personally to let me do that when he really needed me, I thought was just said a lot about the man himself. So I could never say a bad word about him. It didn't end well for him at Grimsby, I must say. We didn't recruit the right players, and I probably saw that coming a little bit and wasn't able to coach as much as I wanted to there with Ian and with Ollie. But I think in terms of a person, I really respect him, and for that I owe him a lot. So he's a good guy.
Yeah. Anthony, now that you're at the New Saints and you're your own boss, so to speak, you're the head coach there. You've taken obviously influences from all of these coaches along the way. How do you see your style? What's the Anthony Limbrick coaching style?
Yeah, so it's a good question. I think it's always developing and always changing as well. If I look at how I managed, I'm a head coach. We've got a sporting director at the club. who helps as well, which is a good go-between me and the chairman and the owner. So I'm very much on the grass every day, coaching the players, coach every session with the assistant coach. We work together, and that's my style. I'm a communicator. I've got very high standards, very, very good values. We train properly, we work hard, and we're really intense with our work. In terms of sort of the playing style, you could say, where I always play attacking football. We do play through the thirds and out from the back. I mean, TNS, we're averaging sort of between 60 and 65% possession this year in the league. So we play football, but we've added a bit more physicality this season and a bit more aggressiveness. We're there to win games, and that's our job. So, yeah, I'd say probably there's the off-field bit of what your style is as a coach. There's how your playing philosophy can represent your team and your coaching philosophy as well. So trying to mix all them together, I think they should all replicate each other. But I'd like to say again, like it's always ever developing and evolving, and I've changed things even this year with it, and I think I'll continue to. But try and, like you said, Tonci said, take bits and pieces from as much of the good people I've seen as well, but also take things from coaches, good and bad, that I've seen in Australia, over here in England, and always try and develop and get better in that way. I think there's a lot to learn. I mean, look, in terms of head coach management, I think I've only had 90 games as a head coach, so I'm an absolute baby. I mean, Ian Holloway there had 1,000 games, I think. He got to his 1,000 game when he was there. So you can't lock yourself into a certain style. You've got to be sometimes you've got to be hard on the players. I do believe you have to give the hairdryer every now and again, but then also you need to really get to know the players and get involved in their relationships and know them as a person first to influence them and make them better.
Yeah.
Go on, Steve.
Do you want to go, Craig?
No, go on, Steve. You go. Yep.
Yeah. Well, tell us a little bit about your squad as well. What sort of players have you got? A young squad?
Sure. Yeah. No, the squad's really interesting because there's a lot of those players that could go and play in the Football League, in my opinion. So we've got ones who could play in the National League, play in League Two. There's a couple even there who could play in League One. So when I came in last season, there was maybe the squad had a bit of a too old or average age. There was a lot of players who had been there for a long time and had a lot of success as well. And that was difficult decisions on which ones to keep and which ones to let go. So we probably let go 4 or 5 players who were over 30 who'd had a lot of success at the club, but I felt it needed to be done. We kept the right older players, 3 or 4 of them, and then added a lot more physicality this year, a lot more younger players, and the average age has come right down, as well as improving some from the academy too, where there's a very good academy here at TNS. So we've tried to link that in. The average age has come down a lot, and we've only got a small squad, but there's some really good up-and-coming players in that squad. And our goal is with the players, for example, we went and got a striker, Declan McManus from Scotland. We paid a good fee for that, the record Welsh fee. But we got him at a good age, and if he does well, then we're in the ability to be able to sell him on and push on and promote the club. And that's what we want to do. If we can show that there's a pathway into the Football League as well, we can get the next young player and then develop them and push them on. So, yeah, we're probably going to have to go again next season. We need to bring the average age down a little bit more again, and we really want to push on. So we're looking to recruit at the moment with the squad with Europe in mind, not just in the league. There's a lot of players that could come in and handle in the league and do well, but we won the league this year by 21 points. So
is that a sweetener? Sorry, Anthony, is that a sweetener to bring players in, that the fact that the club are going to be playing in Champions League? Is that
100%. Yeah, 100%. I mean, we wouldn't have got, I think, 3 or 4 of the players at the moment that we've got if we hadn't had that pull of Europe. And for me as a coach, like, that's a fantastic thing to be involved in as a coach as well. So, yeah, we sell that to the players without a doubt, especially this season now that we've won the league and are then going into starting in the Champions League qualification this season. So, yeah, that's a big selling point for the players, especially the ones that you want to try and get over from England or Scotland or Ireland even as well.
And
what's that done for the Sorry, Steve.
I was going to say, if you do make that Europa Conference group stage, you might be looking to add some more numbers to the squad too, I take it?
Yeah, of course. I mean, it would be a tough balance act. You play 6 games, I think, in that home and away in a group of 4 there. And, yeah, there would be a lot of games that season. But, listen, we'd look to bring through a lot of the younger players as well. But we want to see how the qualification starts first. It starts quite early. So we finish at the end of this month. We've got the Welsh Cup final in May, on the 1st of May. Then we have all the May off. Then we start pre-season in June, and then our first Champions League game is the 5th or 6th of July. So you probably see where you qualify there. But we're on the front foot at the moment, Steve, with our recruitment. We're talking to players all the time. We want to try and get them. I like to get them in as quickly as you can, so then you can work with them during pre-season and implement the style and philosophy that what you want to do. So you're right. We might need a few more players for that, but I'd rather go for quality players that are going to make the starting lineup better. We've got some good young players to come through rather than padding out the squad with squad players. We want to try and improve the starting lineup.
Yeah, and Anthony, what has that qualification for Europe? What we've seen, the interest that it's sort of attracted players to the side. Obviously, you're very much motivated. What's it done for the club, the supporters, the sponsors, the leadership there? Has everything now gone to another level?
Yeah. No. Look, it raises the expectation, the excitement for next season. I mean, like we said, for the last 2 years, the team hadn't won the league. So you had to start Europe in the Europa part, which is what we did last year as well. And that's definitely a tougher pathway through. So it gives everyone a lift. It's obviously a big financial gain as well, which helps the club continue on. So yeah, for everyone's glad to be where we are at the moment, but the message is, like, from myself and from the leaders at the club as well, is that we want to keep pushing on. And the club probably fell away a little bit over the last 2 years, unfortunately, with recruitment and players and just probably standards a little bit. And I think that was a good learning curve for everyone there. And then I've come in myself, and we've been right on the front foot, myself and the sporting director, Gary Brabham. And I think the leadership's very good at the club, so it does give everyone a lift. We're all really looking forward to it. And we'll see how we go, but the owner is definitely ambitious, and he wants to really kick on and push on and try and improve the club in Europe.
And is Mike Harris still the chairman there? Is he?
That's
still
the one, Mike Harris. He's still there.
Okay, yeah.
He's quite a character as well.
He's definitely is.
Mode. Yeah, he is. I mean, look, I can only take him as I've found him with me, and he's very much supported me. For example, when I first come into the club and I looked at the club and said, what are the strengths, what are the weaknesses, what are the areas that we needed to improve on? There was a gym there that was old, that the public used, that wasn't really doing anything. It wasn't a good environment for high performance for the players. And I said, look, we really need to change that if we want to get to the levels of physicality of getting those marginal gains through. Next 2 weeks I came in and he'd spent a lot of money on the gym. The gym was fantastic, all branded up, 4 different squat racks, hurdles, sledge pulls, everything that we needed and really probably you would say would be a League One, if not Championship gym. And that just when the players came in pre-season, they went, oh, these guys are serious here. And that just set the tempo and the standards. And this season, without a doubt, in the league, we've been the fittest team by far, and we weren't last season. So I think just that little backing from him, it was really important. I don't think those things should go unnoticed.
Anthony, question coming in from Miles Matreski. Yep. Have you looked at any Australian players or players in Australia to come and play for your squad?
Yeah, it's an interesting one. Yeah, I've spoken to a few different people who are involved in the Australian game on the possibility of that. Obviously, you need to have the right like passport and that sort of thing to be able to come over. But yeah, look, if you see some Australian players come over and do well, and I keep tabs on sometimes the Australian players over here already in the UK as well. But it is a tough transition, and from going into Australia and coming into the UK, I think it's quite interesting to see which of the players would be able to deal with the tempo, intensity of the game, just like I couldn't deal with myself, which is quite funny when you think about it, because obviously you've got the influence of AFL and rugby league and rugby union, but it's a very technical game in Australia, isn't it? And not as much physicality, especially in England, where the game is in Wales as well, like the tempo and the more direct and physical. So yeah, I always keep in touch with Australian players and definitely wouldn't rule that out. So if there's some good ones out there, let me know.
Well, you're right about the players. I mean, we touched on this before, and that there are a number of players that head over to Europe, but then come back very, very quickly, and a lot of them that adapt into the style and the physicality and how Europe is compared to Australia. You know, in the NPL structure here, Anthony, they're still playing 22 games a year and have a 6-month season. You know, the game needs to change. It's been talked about for such a long time, but you know, these players are never going to be able to adapt to Europe because they can't adapt. There's not enough games in Australia for them to be able to do that. So unless things change this side, they're never going to stand a chance. And that's why we see so many talented players go abroad, but find themselves coming back pretty quickly. So it's an area certainly for...
Just following that bit if I can, I think it's about being able to deliver and perform when you're under the most excruciating pressure. So if you're an Australian coming over from here, which I was as well, you've got to be better than the players that are already there, because otherwise they'll just take the players that are here. So therefore you've got to be better. You've got to be delivering. And I always think back to like a James Ward-Prowse example at Southampton. He come into the first team 17, 18. He played Man City in the first game of the season in the Premier League under Nigel Adkins. He was up against Yaya Toure. Now he's Yaya Toure. He's fitter, quicker, stronger, better footballer, unbelievable talent. He didn't do bad in the game. He wasn't unbelievable, James Ward-Prowse, but he just did the job that the manager wanted. And sometimes being able to go and I think performing under pressure and delivering your best what you're good at, and being consistent and available with that, I think is so underestimated coming over here in Europe. I think you've got to be reliable. You've got to be able to deliver. It's fine doing it once every now and again. I think a lot of probably what I've seen the Australian players over there could do it and can do it. But can they do it consistently and be trustworthy to come over and do it? I don't know how you improve that. I think it's a difficult one. Same with all players, but I think it's one key bit that I find a lot.
Now, finally, for me, one question before we finish up, Tonci, because I know we're running out of time rapidly. So moving back to Australia for a minute. Obviously, you're an Australian citizen, applying your trade in Europe. Yep. We see more and more coaches from Australia going abroad. Obviously, Ange up in Scotland and Kalac in Croatia, I think is Tonci, isn't he?
Third division Croatia.
Yeah. So there's a number of obviously Australian coaches in Europe.
Shout-outs.
Sorry?
David Zrilic as well at Genoa. Shout-outs.
Yeah, absolutely.
Of course, yes.
Firstly, why is it taking so long? And what advice would you give to any coaches coming through the system that want to try their luck in Europe? What would you give them?
Yeah, I mean, look, I found it difficult at the start to accept that. First of all, in every job I think I've had, I've always been too young, too Australian, and too non-playing background. So when you add all those three things together, you've got to work twice as hard. You've got to be better at what you do. You've got to be better at your craft. You've got to be a better communicator. And I realised that early on that obviously because it's not the number one sport and Australia hasn't had the success of maybe the other big European countries, that people will look at Australian coaches differently. And that's probably why a lot of Australian coaches who have been successful have always been ex-players. It's probably a big statement, but it's true. So I think regardless of whether I was Australian or not, just being over here, being a young coach who did my badges early, I'm only 30, how old am I now? 38, turning 39 soon. So I'm still a young coach. So every job I go into, I always get that. Well, has he played? No. Is he young? Yes. Then they hear my accent and I'm from Australia, which was probably a bit thicker before I come here. My mum always tells me off about it, actually. She always goes, get back to it. I'm like, okay, Mum. After a couple of beers, it comes back, don't we? But I think that there's always that challenge there and that stigma maybe of that. But I think you've got to prove yourself more. You can't use that as an excuse. I think if people and coaches from Australia use that as an excuse, you've got to go in and deliver just like a player. You've got to go and perform and you've got to go and prove your worth. And I think you do that by being the hardest worker, by being the most organised, by controlling all the things that you can control in your coaching, your learning, your development. You're taking the setbacks and the knockbacks and really getting on the front foot. And that'd be my best advice. I mean, I found just in terms of advice, I do get a lot of emails and things from coaches. And I said to them at wanting to come and watch your work and see the best coaches work, which is great. But I found for myself time on the grass, just constant work with 4 and 5-year-olds, with girls teams, with disability teams, with senior men semi-pro, with top academy players, with men's football, with a classroom of 30 kids, with the 2 kids in the corner who don't even want to be there, but the other kid who plays part-time for Watford and wants to play. How do you get all them in the training session? I found my adaptability, my flexibility, my agility in the sessions is so much better, even now, because I've had so many different experiences of coaching. I mean, if you're not coaching 20-plus hours on the grass every week, how are you expecting to get better and develop? And I found that was my sort of way in of being a top coach on the grass by getting the numbers up. And a lot of people say, oh, you're not working with the best players. I don't think you necessarily have to at the start or at any time. Just get on the grass and work and work. I've still got sessions now that I've had for 12, 13 years that I've developed, changed, tweaked, used with the under-14s here, used with the under-7s here, using with senior men now. And I think that bit's probably underestimated, which it shouldn't be really when you think about it, should it? You've got to be practicing.
No.
You've got to be practicing.
Yep.
Fascinating insight into the world of professional coaching, professional footballers coaching. Anthony, we are going to have to get you back on later this year.
I think we could have done another hour. We could have done another hour here.
We could have. We're well over time now, but mate, that has been just an insight, a wonderful insight. I think Steve, Craig, you guys will agree. But thank you so much for your time. We're really going to follow the fortunes of the New Saints, and hopefully, come July. August, you'll be able to do some wonders on the grass, as you say, and on the European pitches, and then qualify for some of those group stages. It would be fantastic.
No, thank you very much for having me. Really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks, Anthony, and hopefully, as Tonci said,
Anthony.
we'll try and get you on later on in the year.
Absolutely.
Hopefully after one of your big European nights, mate. So all the very best with it, and hopefully catch up with you soon. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks a lot, guys. Cheers.
All the best.
Good on you, Anthony Limbricke. What an interview that was. That was an absolute awesome interview. Folks, if you're listening, if you're still tuning into that, make sure you forward this on, because those words of advice for aspiring coaches is second to none. Probably one of the best interviews we've done with a coach regarding advice for potential coaches and prospective coaches. Gents, that brings us to the end of the press box. A great one as it was. Tomorrow, Steve, we're back with the Geelong Region Soccer Show. A touching story. We've got the Surf Coast Football Club captain. His name slips me at the moment. He's got a wonderful story. He did a shave. What do we call it? The greatest shave on the weekend just gone by, because his sister of all people has got leukemia, or had leukemia at the age of 30. So. That's going to be an interesting, inspiring story tomorrow night on the Geelong Region Soccer Show. Surf Coast Football Club, they are our featured club tomorrow. Craig, big week ahead for yourself as well, leading up to next weekend as well. And I believe you did a bout of emceeing on the weekend, a club ground announcer. Could that be a new career for you?
No, too much going on, Tonci. It was a bit rushed. It was great fun, but no, not for me. I got too much to do on a Saturday afternoon. But look, it was fantastic. It really is they are trying to do something different. They are trying to make it a party feeling. And for anybody that hasn't been up yet and can get up there, I urge you to get up to City Vista when they're playing at home on a Saturday evening at 5:30 for what is a fantastic atmosphere. 1,500 people there again yesterday. Just a great atmosphere. So urge you to get up there and have a look how it's done.
Absolutely. Tom Langman was the chap.
Tom Langman from Surf Coast.
Captain of Surf Coast. He will be a special guest on tomorrow night's show. And a very inspirational story at that. That's tomorrow night, 8 p.m, and that's going to be simulcast live on the Football Out West News Facebook page, the Geelong Region Soccer News Facebook page, and on YouTube as well. Folks, until then, thank you very much for being a part of the show. Craig, Steve, enjoy the week, and we'll see you guys again this time next week.
Enjoy
your week next time.
Good night.